worked closely together for a long time until the crazy Muslims came in, right? So, and of course, that's part of one of the Abrahamic religions. So, what's going on there? So we'll dive into all that. First, let's look at what is going on with Netanyahu. So he disappeared for a while, and everybody started. They've done the same thing with Trump, of course, and they started saying a lot of people, a lot of influencers are out there with some pretty credible background information. Netanyahu coming out, he's got like 6 fingers and he's talking, and obviously CGI. Now, did his team put that out, or somebody else put that out, or disinformation is running rampant, right? Now he just came out, I guess, a few hours ago. He went to a Starbucks or something and got a cup of coffee, and he was joking around about his, demise, and how nope, he's still around. So dispelling the rumors that he was killed in a strike and his body shipped to Germany. So, was he killed? Was he dead before? So a lot of people say he's been dead, and somebody, he's had a body double, and now I guess he's got, if you're along those lines, maybe he's got a body triple, right? So the another Netanyahu shows up. So we'll have to, figure that over time. Now we've heard that Israel will be saved for last. I believe that Netanyahu at some point will be removed from the scene. We've already seen, in the Iranian side, they've removed the evil from that position, but they're still cleaning house over there. So I think that, between the two, it's a long-term process of evil, being, inserting itself and overcoming good. So we know that we're in the process of destroying evil and rising consciousness and so forth. So that's what we're going to kind of focus on today. All right, so let's look at this thing about Netanyahu. Here he is. Remember the thing about the 6 fingers. So he's showing, look, I got 5 fingers here. Right? Netanyahu posts video in response to Iran rumors. Actually, these rumors are all over the world, but maybe it was Iran that was spreading them. Netanyahu trolls conspiracy theorists, duped into thinking he was dead by AI video. I'm dead for coffee, he says. Netanyahu mocks rumors of his death. Right? So he dies for coffee. All right. So now there's other things out there that are being, disinformation during this time frame. We've been talking about this for years. We go all the way back to COVID lockdown. That was total disinformation campaign. But disinformation, what is it? Deliberately misleading information announced publicly or leaked by a government or especially by an intelligence agency in order to influence public opinion or the government in another nation. So disinformation, that's the definition of disinformation. But there's been multiple sources of disinformation that we have been subjected to for over 5 years. And of course, like I said, the COVID-19, Biden presidency, total disinformation. That wasn't Biden. So all of these different things that have come in, I don't even think it was Kamala either. So there's many things that have come in to take us off track and focus us on certain areas, while a lot of times other things were happening. Take our attention in a different direction. So there's also I saw this out there and I was like, are people really falling for this? Of course they are. It happens all the time. There was an AI generated of the Abraham Lincoln being struck by Iran. So here it is. It's all CGI, right? Similar post showing the 2 clips alongside a similar claim spread across social media. So be careful what you are paid or you're watching on social media. In various languages, Iran repeatedly claimed to have struck the USS Abraham Lincoln. Now, I saw it, and there's, psychics are also out there. I don't know if they're being influenced to say, bullshit, or if they're being directed. Because I've been the target of people I think have had negative influence on them, saying bad things about me, saying that I was a clone and so forth. People that I've worked with over time turned on me and said that I was a clone. So that's false. Although there's some of you out there that still believe that, that's okay. You're going to believe what you're going to believe. So as we go forward, there's going to be more and more and more that's going to continue to come out. Disinformation, because CGI is getting really good, AI is getting really good. So there'll be you can create whole narratives, like you just saw with the Abraham Lincoln. I think there was video out there of that. And then there was another one that I saw recently where a B-2 bomber was shot down, and they paraded it through the streets of Tehran. So that was a good one. All right. So the disinformation campaign is real, guys. Fact check. Fact check. I don't. When I see fact check, I'm like, oh, that's bullshit. But in this case, it was real. All right. So I don't know how to get the hairy nose out of there. This is ridiculous. Yahoo. Screw you, Yahoo. But anyway, it says a faux video. Does a video show a real American B-2 bomber after being shot down and being paraded through the streets in Iran? No, that's not true. I mean, you can look at it look at it in relation to this bridge, and it's I guess it's still smoking. I don't know. So, good CGI, guys. All right. So disinformation, you're going to have to be very, very, watchful going forward of all the disinformation that's going on out there. There'll be really good counter information. So you got to do a little bit of your own work. And if you're finding that, there's some stuff here, because I saw on Nino's show, he had a guy on that was talking about it. Seemed kind of legit to me. Then I did a little research. And then right after that, that's when Netanyahu, supposedly Netanyahu, came out and said, I'm dead for coffee, right? So joking around, look, 5 fingers. So all kind of crazy stuff out there. All right. So market watch. Are we going to see Black Monday? It's hit or miss right now, really, with the stock market. The stock market, I believe, is stayed fairly high. Comparatively, it's getting a little bit of drawback. Is there a possibility it's going to crash? Yes, but if it does crash, I think it's going to be 5 or 10%. But if this war goes on longer, there is the potential that the stock market crash that I've been predicting could happen now. Right? It's could be coming in a little sooner because events may transpire. If Iran somehow drops a nuke somewhere, they get desperate. They're like, oh, these guys are definitely going to take us down, and they drop a nuke, or a nuke goes off in the United States. I guess they're searching for nukes in the United States, have been for many years. I think they found a few of them, actually. But, over time, if we do see a nuclear blast or something like a nuke going off, then that's probably going to take the stock market down, regardless of where it's at, right? Now, fundamentally, I think the stock market should be crashing already. But of course, these things, usually stock market is the last to do a super spike. It really hasn't done its super spike yet. So Is it going to? I think we may get a pullback. Like I said, 5-10%. This is the way it's worked in the past when we've had these problems, wars, rumors of wars, and oil embargoes and so forth. But if you go all the way, excuse me, back to Jimmy Carter, in the oil crisis back then, that started a long stagflation period. And that's when, of course, silver and gold outperformed the stock market, which silver and gold are already outperforming the stock market. So are we going into stagflation? But still see maybe the stock market go up at some point after a pullback? Or will tomorrow it's like, no, we're not going to have a Black Monday. We're going to have a Black Yeehaw Day, it's like go to the moon. Who knows? That would be, the way these things are, the stock market casino, they manipulate the hell out of that thing. So, you can try and use your intuition at this point. I've used my intuition on it and done fairly well. I think it's going to pull back, but you have to be your own judge. If it stock market goes up, Monday, maybe I'll liquidate some stuff that I started. Or if it goes down, then I'm like, maybe I'll add to positions. Who knows? So I'm just just a poor boy from a poor family, and I've been observant for most of my life, so I can see these things, and maybe we're going to see a pullback, but it's too early to tell now, because it can pull back 1,000, 5%, whatever, today, and tomorrow before stock market opens, it's up, ready to gap up like 2%. It's crazy manipulation that's going on. So we'll see tomorrow. Keep your eyes on the markets and see what happens. Right now, the NASDAQ is pulling back, but not that much. It's like 0.27%. Dow's down 0.2%. So again, you have to just wait and see how Asia does. Asia's not open yet. The foreign exchange, see if the dollar continues its upward movement, which it is right now. I'm looking at it. That's not good for stocks. And the 10-year rate, if the 10-year rate starts to spike, then stocks are going to pull back pretty significantly. Dollar goes up, stocks are going to pull back significantly. And of course, silver, they're going to sell silver and gold to cover their losses. Right? So eventually, when everything goes really, really bad, like banks start to fail and the bond crisis begins, I don't think we're going to see the bond crisis begin yet. But again, that could happen, it could happen overnight. Remember what was that one bank in like the not financial, but the tech industry, whatever that bank was, it collapsed within 72 hours. Some people got word of it, and that their big guys were moving money, and they started, there was a bank run. I think we're going to have bank runs like crazy. Now, you guys might remember back in 2008, they restricted how much money you could pull out of the ATMs. And even if you went in to get more money, they restrict how much you get. They restrict how much money you can get out of the bank now. They've done that for years. So they've already started protecting themselves for bank runs, guys. Right? So if you got a lot of money in the bank, it could get frozen very easily. If you got a lot of money in, I'd say, stock market, whatever, that could get frozen. And if you have money in silver and gold, you'll be able to go and get money, right? Because that's the way it's always been. It's and at some point, people are gonna, once we go into this financial crisis, which will come, the money's going to go into silver and gold on a level that's going to be epic, right? It's already done a little bit of that. We've had a little taste of that. They've been able to manipulate and control that for the last couple months. But at some point, once the stock market does collapse and banks start collapse, if you don't have money set aside, if you don't have ideally silver and gold set aside, you're gonna get wiped. You're gonna get completely wiped. You won't be able to pay bills. You won't be able to go buy groceries because everything's gonna be frozen. So that's just my thoughts on that. It might not happen, but I think it will. Right? I'm pretty sure it's going to, because this happened in Cyprus, where everything was frozen for like 6 weeks, and the same thing happened in Lebanon. After, remember, they had that big blast. Now Juan O'Savin was on my show, and I talked about it. I did a video on it and talked about it, and I said that Israel came in and blew that shit up. So they had some underground stuff going on. And Juan came on yesterday and said the same thing. Not yesterday, it was the day before, it was Friday. It's crazy. And then after that, the people rose up and they put gallows out there with nooses and stuff. And all of the, people that were in the political realm resigned. Right? So, and then everything froze. The banks froze the money in the accounts. People literally were going in and robbing the banks to get their money out of the banks. So it was crazy. So it's coming, unfortunately. So you have to position yourself. I would say be completely out of debt. Don't have credit cards, blah, blah, blah. Unfortunately, most people are not going to be able to do that because everybody's been brainwashed into believing get loans, get a mortgage, and if you get a good rate, then that's the best you're gonna do, and you're golden. No, for me, it's been paying cash for everything, and I've been holding my money aside, waiting for this downturn so that I can.
Sinners in all the films, they just kind of incredible. Let us know you, and you can know us. So I think that. But most of all,
that's gonna the thing that we're gonna be looking at. So as I've been talking, the stock market's been going down. Future's been going down pretty good. So we could see that Black Monday. So just be heads up on that. If the Black Monday comes, you might want to be a little proactive and getting some money out of the bank, making sure that you're able to cover your loans, whatever you have. Maybe your child's in tuition for college. Ways they can pay. I have multiple ways to pay. I have lots and lots to like 2 years worth of. I can last if everything collapses. So monetarily, and a lot further. With stuff that I have invested. So you may not, like I said, get the ability to go into your investments. So you need to be ready and able to pay bills. Start to plan now, right? If it's a few months out, or if it's tomorrow or the next day, then act in fear, right? Stay in the love vibration. If you're in fear, that's what they want. They're going to control you, and you're going to lose everything. So don't go there. You're going to do stuff that's some. All right. I have people that give me a lot of insights, and we've been talking about this for quite some time. This is lead into as far as like Iran and Israel. So both of them have and for a time that was the way it was here in the United States under Biden. Everybody, the Bushes, the Clintons, Obamas. So pure evil, absolute evil. And now we're starting to see through that. Now, because they're acting through evil, they don't care at all about we, the people of the earth, right? They're here to control us, decimate us whenever we get out of line. And if we get too smart about what they're doing, they start wars and so forth. I think this war is the one to end all wars, right? But we'll see. All right, so now forward operating base Shank in Afghanistan. So this is from someone that knew about this. It was a big joint CIA DEA opium processing bases, drug production and processing facilities. Now you can actually pull this up on Google Earth. You put in FOB Shank, SHANK in Afghanistan. It's going to pull that up. And when you pull that up, you're going to see that there's a big portion of that has been destroyed. All right. So I'm going to share the screen so you guys can see that. So bigger picture, I was in the CIA. I saw the bullshit that was going on behind the scenes, manipulation, drug trafficking, human trafficking, all of these things that the black hat CIA does, right? Under the cover of we, the good guys that are doing good works, right? And that's the way it is in Israel, and that's the way it is in Iran, and that's the way it was in the United States. It's being cleaned up, but it's going to take a process. So if you look at Fort Operating Base Shank, like I'm pulling up right now, you can see the buildings right here that are still in existence. Now, as I zoom in a little bit, you're going to see a lot of this has been destroyed, right? So there were people that were coming into this area that said that it was basically a drug processing area. So here's some pictures of that base back in the day. All right, you can see that it was, this was where, as a cover, the good guys were training the Afghan police force, right? But on the other side of one of these fences, they were processing opium. They were processing opium, right? And sending it to the United States. And this is when we had, really big problems with heroin and opium addictions and all kind of stuff, because it was coming from Afghanistan. So you see all this that was destroyed. So I'm going to just guess, because I wasn't personally there, but I've had people that have passed information on to me that's what happened there. So you still have where they did the training, of course, and then the areas where they did the opium processing has been destroyed to cover the activities of what they were doing. I guess when they decided to pull out of Afghanistan at the last moment and not give all those people for 20 years that they'd helped and covered and trained, and they just pulled right out. It's like left them hanging while they're burning all those buildings. So what and who took control of all that opium is one of the reasons why we pay the Afghans $50 million a week. Yes, we pay the Taliban $50 million every week. Are they now in charge of all that? All right. Something's going on there. And, those guys in Congress and the Senate, sign off on those checks every week. So what the hell's going on there? Wow. So obviously, there's still, operations that need to be exposed and cleaned up. And as we go forward, you think it's for weekly drugs? Probably. Yeah, it's insane, right? But It was set up by Bush, completed by Barack. Yep, absolutely. So while I'm hunting terrorists, there's like these guys who are coming in. It's like, where are the drug dealers? It's like, who cares? We totally destroyed the Taliban, and they were the ones who were dealing drugs, so it's obviously gone away. And no, we took them out so that the CIA could take over their operations.
Wow.
And we had the military basically protecting a lot of those opium fields. So, and then they would have like occasionally, probably somebody was growing opium that was on the pay, on the bakshish, and that farmer is not involved. So let's send the military over there and chop it all down to make it look like we're taking out the opium. Yeah, that's what they did. So that's crazy, right? It's very frustrating. That's one of the things that we're moving forward. We have to expose. Now, we know that Judas Iscariot in the biblical, with Jesus. So I'm gonna bounce around in history here, but this all relates. All right, it relates to current times and how these evil ones throughout time have gained power and have control. Now, on the surface, you'll have the good guys operating, doing their thing, throughout history. And then you have the bad guys come in and work their way to the top and start controlling things and making sure the little minions, rise through the ranks, not through merit, because they're idiots. They're always idiots, right? And they choose idiots because you can control them, right? But those of us that are involved are like, these guys are screwing up our stuff. We could have this war over within months. We got all these idiots coming in and doing stupid. What is that? It's the baddies. So Judas was a zealot. Now zealots, they were the problem. Just like the zealots of the Muslims, who are the Shia. I call them the shits, right? The Shia are the ones that are violent. The rest of the Muslims, for the most part, are peace-loving. And that's what the religion's all about. So, same thing with all of the Abrahamic religions, peaceful, right? If you go back to when Melchizedek was working with Abraham in the early stages, Melchizedek taught him peace. Now, what is Salem, where he was king of Salem? Salem means peace, right? And Melchizedek, who I believe is a previous incarnation of Jesus, helped Abraham, get to that point where, one God, peaceful. Of course, you were like, Abraham was like kicking everybody's ass. Yeah, kind of like what we're doing right now, because we have to, right? So there's real problems here in the world with these Shia jackasses. So we have to start to take them out. Now, this could be a worldwide thing, and I think it's going to be, because these Shia multiply like fleas, and they're everywhere. So, and that's their intention, to come in, multiply, and take over, and do this Sharia law stuff. Now, at some point, I think that we're going to get to the point where, everything is so perfect. I mean, why would you want to, be violent and take over something which they seem to do, because that's their culture, when it's going to benefit you? And through their mindset and through their culture, they don't care. They're driven to, take out everybody that's not Muslim and control everything through Sharia law, which is it basically kills their creativity, because anytime you kill the feminine side, the creativity, and they burk up all the women, you're going to kill a culture. And so they come in and they feed off other cultures. They're vampiric, right? So they come in and feed off another culture until it's dead, You go many places in the Middle East. I've been to Yemen, and it's so vampiric there that everything's almost completely collapsed. Right? It was the same thing in Afghanistan. It was the same thing in some areas of Iraq where the Shia were very prominent. Now the other sects, like I said, they're very peaceful, and they're very easily controlled by these violent mofos. You know, that's Iran. They came into a very peaceful Iran, and Jewish based all the way back from, like I'm going to talk about, all the way back to Cyrus the Great, and they overcame all that stuff, and because they're peaceful, they just came in. It's like, oh, we're going to make everything right. Sound like the Bidens and the Obamas and the Bushes. Everything's going to be good. It's going to be much better. Yeah, for you guys, but for everybody else, shit, right? So that's the way these guys operate, unfortunately, and that's why they're promoted throughout Europe, and why we brought in millions of them into the United States to basically take over and turn everything to shit, right? The Shia are going to turn everything to shit, right? All right, so Judas Iscariot. So Jesus brought him in, and he was part of the 12 disciples. There were many more, of course. There were women. Mary Magdalene was there, and lots of other women. They don't talk about that, of course, because it's almost like, why do we always have to take these beautiful offshoots of a new religion like Christianity was, and roll it back into some kind of male dominated thing? It should be balanced. But we come in and male dominate this patriarchate, and it eventually is destructive, right? I would say the Muslim religion is probably the most dominant patriarchal system on earth right now, and you can see how violent it is and how destructive it is. So we have to get to that point where, look, everything's going to be much better. And if you don't agree with that, we're going to put you in prison. And if you want to fight, we'll kill you if you need to go that way, because what we're doing in Iran right now. So it's going to continue. So Judas, that Judas gave up Jesus, and there's some very interesting information about Judas that before this I was doing research, and it says his resume may also have included identification as a zealot. So the zealots basically rose up against Rome, and Rome came in and spanked them, right? Spanked them hard, all right? Basically destroyed Israel. So that's the Roman side of things. Now, the Jews were in Rome, and they were very well received, and there was good relationships in Rome. But the radicals, right, the zealots, like we have with the Shia, caused major problems. And eventually Rome got tired of it and came in and wiped them out, right? Destroyed the Second Temple, right? The Wailing Wall. The Wailing Wall is where it's basically the base of where the tribune had his they had a little tower there that they looked out over, and they made sure that because there was, I guess, a lot of money that came from the Jews, so they were taxed. The Jews hated that, of course, like we hate taxation. And there's talk of how Jesus came into the temple where the money changers were doing animal sacrifice and taking money and all that kind of stuff. So turned over their tables, and that's eventually what led to his demise. Because he did that, but he was basically showing everyone that this is the problem, right? So the zealots, and of course, you have Simon the zealot, and I think that Judas was also a zealot. And they say that he was probably a zealot because of his name. All right, his surname, Iscariot, means daggermen. Right? A group of ultra zealots who carried a knife with them at all times to be prepared to assassinate what they perceived as traitors and capitulators. So in English, we could call him Judas Daggerman, all right? Now, I know you guys have probably seen The Last Supper, right? Remember that one guy with the dagger in The Last Supper? I'll show you, right? I'll show you. That was Judas Iscariot with a dagger. So, wow. Did they know about this for a long time? Right? That this guy was a dagger dude? And, you know, I've said how, you know, the knife culture, you gotta think like the knife culture, or they'll make life difficult for you. Yeah, you got a bang stick, but against a knife culture, if you don't have their mentality, they will defeat you, right? So right here, The Last Supper by Leonardo da Vinci. As you can see here, right there is this guy with a knife, right? So that's in the painting, The Last Supper. Of course, there's Mary Magdalene and Jesus Christ. All right. So, interesting, right? Questions? Right. It should be very clear now that we've had this culture that comes in and destroys what is good, right? These radicals, these extremists, and you know, some people have called them the Khazarian Mafia, and we could also call them Satanists and Luciferians, and you know, maybe even go so far as to call them Draco, right? So lizard hybrids, right? So that's some of the things that we're seeing right now, and we're disclosing. Going so far as to do the hybrid thing. I think that's been around for a long time. These guys knew it. I think Jesus knew it. He was disclosing it. But he was a fun guy. He had a good sense of humor and very loving, and he knew your past lives, and he told you about your past lives, and a lot of the people that have reached that level of enlightenment, they can do that. So Jewish revolt against Roman rule began in 666 CE. So of course Jesus died in 33. Right, so he was born in his 33rd year CE. He died 33 degree Mason. So these guys take this information and they twist it and shove it back at us in a very negative way. I'm not very happy about that. So anyway, so that's who. If you've ever seen The Last Supper and you wondered who that guy was that wielded that knife, that was Judas. Right, because he was Judas Iscariot, the radical knife wielders. Right? How about that? Yes, you learned something today. I'm glad. All right, so there's a lot more to learn. So a lot of you have heard the CIA involvement in drug trafficking. Now there have been, they will say baseless. Right. Although, why do they have to burn all those buildings? Baseless claims that they were involved in drug trafficking. Right. So, you're not going to get the truth from the CIA. You're not going to get the truth for a lot of things until sometimes a lot of time has passed. Like Judas Iscariot. Did Judas Iscariot commit suicide? He's like, oh, take this 30 pieces of silver. Now, Judas Iscariot was in charge of all of the donations that came to Jesus and the disciples. And like I said, there's a lot more than 12. Dozens and dozens of people would follow Jesus. And there were people that donated, and so they were taken care of. They get food and so forth, and clothing if they need it. Judas Iscariot was in charge of that money. So like the money changers or the tax collectors in Israel, they always took a little extra to cover their, that was their fee, so that they could, focus on, collecting taxes. Well, the strange thing is, kind of like what we see with a lot of our people in Congress and the Senate. They became very wealthy, very wealthy. Right, so that skimming of the top was not more than it was a lot more than a little bit, right? Just like our congressmen and senators, I saw where recently I was looking at one that had like 5 houses and like millions, $12 million in the bank, and like $1 million worth of silver and all kind of crazy stuff. So. Now we've seen a lot of these guys go bye-bye just recently. We saw in Texas, Pat McCain, as I call him, he didn't even make the primary. He got voted out, and he's a big supporter of this negative Israeli side, right? So there's a lot of supporters of this negative Israeli side, right? And that's going to have to be where I put it, right? Because there's a lot of people who come in and say you're anti-Jew, and I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm anti-baddie, right? So baddies infiltrate everywhere, and so baddies infiltrated our Congress and our Senate. I don't think there's like maybe other than maybe 1 or 2 good, maybe a handful of good senators, and maybe a couple handfuls if we're lucky, congressmen that are not corrupt guys. They're all just like Judas Iscariot, skimming and diming us out, we the people. So he dimed out Jesus. Now, did he take that 30 pieces of silver? These are the things that, I think the Bible sometimes they get confused, or somebody comes in and manipulates that information, because there is a lot of manipulated information in that Bible, especially the New Testament. So he took that 30 pieces of silver and tried to give it back to the temple priests, and they're like, "Hey, that's over. That's on you. You can't give it back to us." So I guess he threw it down and then went out and hung himself. No, someone hung him. All right, so he did bad, and people were like pissed off at him, and he got hung because he's trying to force a situation that was not anything what Jesus was trying to do. He was trying to get the zealots to rise up and push out the Romans. So this is part of the bad guy side, guys, and they've been doing this for a very, very long time. Although there's many good people that try to do the right thing. Now Trump, right now, who I believe is a very, very good guy, is demanding Iran surrender. Says he's hearing new leader not alive. Right? So kind of like Netanyahu, right? So why not throw that out there? They're throwing out bullshit. Let's throw a little bit back at them, right? Maybe some of it will stick. So I've heard that, he doesn't have any limbs. He got his legs and arms blown off, and that's probably hearsay and manipulated stuff, disinformation. I don't know. But so Trump is, throwing little BS back at him. So Donald Trump said Friday that the U.S. had carried out a bombing raid on Iran's Karg Island, a strategically vital island in the Persian Gulf that serves as the country's largest oil terminal. Now, you guys might remember that I said, of course, Iran's foreign minister claims new supreme leaders in excellent health. So you guys might remember maybe about a week ago when Trump came out and said, mostly this war's over. The day before that, I said, we're probably going to put some boots on the ground in Karg Island. All right. So they just bombed Karg Island. I think Special Forces will seize it. Now they have a 2,500 man Marine Expeditionary Force on the way. I guess they were doing some exercises in the Philippines. They went to Japan where they're stationed, and now they're heading, full speed ahead. And they'll arrive when they arrive, a few days, 5 days, whatever, how long it takes them. In the Navy, you can sail the 7 seas. Same thing with the Marines. They like to sail too, right? And us Marines, and not us, but us Navy SEALs, right? because I identify with the Marines. I love the Marines. I think they're baddest mofos on the planet when it comes to. I think they are guerrilla warfare, right? With regular army, but guerrilla warfare, right? Trade, and everywhere they went, people wanted to know who you are, and they came in and decimated. They came into Iraq, and they wrapped that thing up quick. They went to Afghanistan after they wrapped up Iraq and wrapped up Afghanistan. And then the army came in and screwed everything up in Iraq, so they came back and fixed it again. So now they're coming. They're coming, and I think they're going to make a footprint along the shorelines. And now that we have seized, just like we did in Venezuela, now that they had seized, or will soon, Kharg Island, they took out the oppositional forces that were on the ground and destroyed the bunker systems or whatever they had. And now it will be easy for special forces to come in. It's in the Marines. So because the Marines are like, we're the first on the ground when they do the landings. Like, we're there twice before you guys get there, because we go and do the beach survey, and then we come in just before you guys come in. We're on the beach making sure that if you guys fall off and start to drown, we come save you. So, and it's fun. It's fun. We kind of throw barbs at each other, but like I said, I love the Marines, and I think they're going to do a kick-ass job. Now, of course, the bad side is going to disinformation the shit out of this and say that, this is going to turn into Vietnam and blah, 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 blah. Now, in Vietnam and in Iraq and in Afghanistan, the deep state was involved, guys. The baddies, the same Judas Iscariot types, Shia types and so forth. They're all one and the same to me. They were involved. They were controlling the action. That's why it drug on and on and on and on. All right. While those of us that knew how to kick some ass were like, "What the heck is going on?" We would have. This should have been over years ago. And so that's what's coming. The Marines going to come in, basically make the straits there navigable, and we'll take the oil from Kharg Island and start to ship it out on a massive scale. And of course, we'll make sure that the Iranian people get their cut, right? Most of it. I don't know. I'm just kidding. Maybe they get it all. I doubt it, because we got to pay for this war, and that's how we're going to pay for it. Same thing with Venezuela, right? We get a little cut of that. So we saved it so that the people actually get it. So the people weren't getting it, and they were never going to get it, right? And they were going to get squeezed, and things were going to be bad. So that's what I'm saying about the Muslims. It's like, hey guys, we're going to make it so everybody's profitable. You don't need to do the Sharia law bullshit. And rapping, like in Iran, those are some of the most beautiful women in the world. Why would you want to wrap them up in burqas? That's stupid, right? Are you guys all gay? Yeah. And so we're gonna make it so that you don't have to be gay. You can make a lot of money. You don't have to wear those shalwar kameezes, those rags, those looks like dresses, right? And then you can be cool like everybody else in the world, right? And then it's like, why would you want to go radical Muslim, right? Look at the Turks. The Turks are doing a good job over there. I've been to Turkey, and it's like they're a Muslim country, but they stole it from the Christians. But hey, shit happens. But they it used to be Constantinople, and then they changed it to Islamabad. Constantinople, and they changed it to Islamabad, right? So I was just there. I should know. So anyway, all these different names. I don't know. Maybe I'm saying it wrong. But anyway, we're seeing that the disinformation is out there, but the real effort is making an impact. It's moving forward very, very good. All right. So, Marine Expeditionary Unit ordered to the Middle East. at least 2,000, I think it's 2,500 U.S. Marines constituting the 31st Marine Expeditionary Unit, MEU, Marine Expeditionary Unit, MOVE, headquartered in Okinawa. So they were in Okinawa, not that is Japan, have been dispatched towards the Middle East as U.S. strikes on Iran enter the third week. So why weren't they put there to begin with? Because they were going with Plan A, which was we kick their ass, shock and awe, and take out the head people, and the Iranian people rise up, which they still haven't been able to do, because there's still, I guess, some people in charge that could really make it difficult for them, obviously. And we're seeing that, that Plan A didn't work. So Plan B will be to start to, seize certain areas. Special forces go in. Now, Iran has mouths in its country all over the place. And these little Shia knuckleheads basically burrowed into those mountains, deep into those mountains. So very hard to get in there and get all their weaponry, especially if they have weapons of mass destruction. Now the SEALs, SEAL Team 6, Delta, are very, very well trained. They've been doing things here in the U.S. because they go after weapons of mass destruction wherever they're at, right? If they're a threat to the United States, they're going after weapons of mass destruction. So they've done it here in the States. I pointed out many years ago when they raided a place in California, and I was like, I know those guys. I used to do the same thing. I looked like that too. So they went in and did probably bioweapons and nuke, and that kind of filtered around for a while. And Juan O'Savin has brought it up several times on some of my shows, but I saw that when it first happened, when they first put it out there, and it was pretty interesting. I was like, well, I do remember we used to train with the FBI in Miami and doing building raids, and we did the same thing in New York and Memphis and LA. So why wouldn't we do it down there in the harbor side? I can't remember the name of it, of somewhere in LA area. Go in and do a raid for real. So that's what I thought. At first I was like, is it training there? Or that doesn't look like training to me. It looks like the real deal. So eventually it came back that was. So we're going after their nukes. We'll go after their nukes probably in the near term in Iraq. That's my thoughts. So, or Iran. Sorry, keep saying Iraq. But if I say Iraq, I mean Iran. Right? Iraq is getting hammered. They're hammering Iraq. Because we did away with a lot of the Shia, Fallujah and all those places. We just decimated those guys. And so the other guys came in and the Sunni and, made themselves very successful. Their women, walk around in Versace and, super high-heeled, nice shoes and so forth. I saw that in Bahrain. I went to Bahrain one time, and they're all burqa'd up and stuff, and I'm like, but they had nice burqas, and they had nice shoes. What's that one, not Louis Vuitton, the one with the red, Christian Louboutin. So Christian Louboutin. So they had the Christian Louboutin. I was like, wow, look at that. That's pretty impressive. And so Daddy eventually is like, okay, you don't have to wear the burqa anymore. And so that's where the feminine comes in good, guys. The feminine will, like we saw here in America, where the mama bears started going into the schools and said bullshit on this COVID bullshit. And they started to take that stuff down on that level. So that's some of the things that happen in the Middle East if the women get supported to the point where they can, start to push a little bit and they get some traction, and then it turns it all around. It's pretty cool. So the Sunnis they're the goodies, right? And the Sunnis did good stuff. They're in Saudi Arabia, and they're in a lot of not that the Sunnis are always perfect. I guess in Saudi Arabia they wouldn't let them drive, and then eventually the girls got angry about that, and they did it anyway. And I guess now they can drive, right? So that's the way it happens, right? So we're going to see this turnaround in a lot of these areas. Now, when we finally do take down these radical bastardos in Iran, then everybody's going to go back to the way it used to be, and they're going to like really take off. And the Abrahamic, I think, Accords, where President Trump came in and they were going to do like peaceful trading and everything. Once that goes in, we're going to see an explosion of wealth in the Middle East. So all these Shia jackasses, they're not going to have any say anymore, right? There's no way that they're going to be able to move around. And if they do, they'll get hammered, and they'll go to jail. And they get out of jail, you do it again. You go back to jail longer, do it again, we'll execute you. So it's up to you. And I think that's the way it's going to evolve over time. So once that happens, guys, then we're going to see the consciousness explosion, because a lot of us are, especially in the Middle East right now, because the Iranians are bombing everybody, blowing the hell out of everything. Dubai, like the financial, mecca of the Middle East. People are leaving Dubai in massive numbers. The housing prices are collapsing. They just hit a lot of the oil refineries, and I think Oman and UAE, and all up and down. And they're hammering Iraq because Iraq basically, like I said, turned away from the Shia and the Iranians, and they're like, we can have a better life. We don't need to let those assholes come in and look what that caused this civil war that we decimated each other with. So they're not going to be long for this world. Same thing, Hezbollah in Beirut, and we've already seen the decimation of Hamas. Same thing. These are Shia. These are all Shia guys, the Shiites of the Muslim world. So let's go a little bit further. Gulf countries report new attacks after Iran warns major UAE ports to evacuate. So they're telling them, you guys need to leave because America's using your ports and we're going to blow you up. And so Trump suggests other countries may provide military support to reopen Strait of Hormuz. Once that's open and that oil starts going through, you're probably going to see the stock market take off, right? And occasionally they might hit a ship, but until that happens, until the Marines get their boots on the ground, that's probably not going to happen, guys. Probably not going to happen. All right. No one's going to want to go through there with these savages, sand ninjas. Right? There's other words for them, but these crazies, if they have the opportunity, they're going to hit any kind of shipping. And they're saying that, if you're not American or Israel, you can go through there. Yeah, I trust them, right? So not so much. These guys are on their last legs, I think, and they know it, but they're it's going to have to go through this process. Now let's go back in time. Zoroastrianism. Zoroastrianism. Let me see. Pull this up. I don't think I have it anymore. So anyway, I'll just have to remember. I had it, but I put so much in here. I think I pulled something else. But anyway, Zoroaster, and this was like 1600 BC, something crazy, came in, and he basically had one God, and loving and all this stuff. And of course, at the time, Persia was polytheism, polytheistic. So it basically had a uni God and one God, and it was very, very similar to what Abraham came out with. Now, Abraham,
whether you like me or not, whether it's locations, who really hates me, stunts, production design, architecture, yeah, everyone.
some have said that Abraham was influenced by Zoroastrianism. And like I said, with, you know, what was it? Who's it? Methuselah. Was it Methuselah? I don't know. But anyway, the one Salem, he was in charge of Salem. He was the king of Salem, and he influenced. So I said that he was. I've heard and I believe that he was one of Jesus's incarnations. Zoroastria was also, from what I understand, one of Jesus's incarnations. So you take both of these, you know, religions, Zoroastrianism, which is very similar to Abrahamic religions, the beliefs, and so forth, and of course Abraham, who was influenced by that other guy that I can't remember right now. But if you take them and put them together, you basically, that's why the Jews and the Persians got along so well. Now, when Cyrus came along, he united all of Persia, because it was the Medes and some others and so forth. And he basically started claiming all of massive areas of Persia. So he was a great warrior. And, you know, some people said that, you know, Trump is a reincarnation of, you know, Cyrus the Great. So that's kind of interesting. So King Belshazzar, and this was the guy that ruled Babylon, gave a great banquet after he battled Cyrus the Great's army from the walls of Babylon. So they couldn't penetrate. So he gave a great banquet for 1,000 of his nobles and drank wine with them. So while he's drinking wine, he gave orders to bring the gold and silver goblets that Nebuchadnezzar, his father, had taken from the temple in Jerusalem, which he destroyed. Remember that story? So that the kings and nobles, his wives and his concubines, might drink from them. So they brought them, and then suddenly the fingers of a human hand appeared and wrote on the plaster of the wall near the lampstand in the royal palace. The king watched the hand as it wrote. His face turned pale, and he was so frightened that his legs became weak and his knees were knocking. And so he summoned all of his enchanters, astrologers, and diviners. None of the wise men of Babylon could decipher what the writing on the wall was, right? So many people whispered to him, you should bring Daniel. You know, he's very wise, and so he did. So Daniel was brought before the king, and the king said to him, are you Daniel, one of the exiles my father, the king, brought from Judah? And so he's like, yeah. And so he's like, I've heard that you're able to give good interpretations and solve difficult problems. And if you do solve this writing on the wall, you will be clothed in purple and have a gold chain placed around your neck. And you will be made the third highest ruler in the kingdom. Wow. Put a lot on that writing on the wall. So Daniel answered the king, you may keep your gifts for yourself and give your rewards to someone else. Nevertheless, I will read the writing for the king and tell him what it means. So he says, Your Majesty, the Most High God gave your father Nebuchadnezzar sovereignty and greatness and glory and splendor. And then he got too full of himself, and he was driven away from people and given the mind of an animal. He lived with the wild donkeys and ate grass like an ox, and his body was drenched with the dew of heaven, until he acknowledged that the Most High God is sovereign over all kingdoms on earth and sets over them anyone he wishes. But you, Belshazzar, his son, have not humbled yourself, though you knew all this. Instead, you have set yourself up against the Lord of heaven. You had the goblets from his temple brought to you, and your nobles, your wives and concubines drank wine from them. You praised the gods of silver and gold, of bronze, iron, wood, and stone, which cannot see or hear or understand, but you did not honor the God who holds in his hand your life and all your ways. Therefore, he sent the hand that wrote the inscription God, and it was many, many tekel parsin. And here's what it meant. Many, God has numbered the days of your reign and brought it to an end. Tekel, you have been weighed on the scales and found wanting. And Perez, your kingdom is divided and given to the Medes and Persians. Then, at Belshazzar's command, Daniel was clothed in purple, gold and chain placed around his neck. That very night, Belshazzar, king of the Babylonians, was slain. He was slain. All right? So the writing on the wall. Now, who was this guy? Cyrus. He was a badass. Cyrus diverted the Euphrates River. So Babylon had huge gates that went down into the river Euphrates so that no one could come in. And so they had the walls, massive walls. I've been to Babylon. They are quite massive. And so he diverted the river by digging trenches upstream, which allowed the water to lower the levels significantly. And that allowed him to go under the gates on the riverbed and then come up into the city and destroy the city. Now, what did Cyrus do afterwards? Cyrus, I believe, started to, his thing was he let everyone go back to their homelands, and he was, religion was like if whatever religion you wanted, you can do your religious thing. All right. Now he was Zoroastrian, remember? But he allowed other people to practice. He didn't force his religion on others. So Daniel, I believe, started to work with, and I haven't seen that anywhere, but I believe that he worked with Cyrus and gave Cyrus really good insights. And from that point, the Jews were part of the court of the Persians. And so that's what we saw that up until 47 years ago, when the Shiites came in and basically ran them out. All right. So all that time, for thousands of years, the Jews and the Persians got it on, right? Until the Shiites came in, or the Shiites. And they're the baddies, right? So the baddies infiltrate wherever they can infiltrate, and the baddies infiltrated. Now, who supported the Shits, right? The Shits were supported by Britain, right? Britain is like Juan O'Savin and Sheila Holmes, the show that I did with them on Friday. We're all in agreement that we're in the second Revolutionary War against Britain, guys. Britain is the one that is the problem, right? Around the world, China, Iran, and you name it, right? Even here in the United States, probably making sure that our senators and congressmen get lots of money for doing what we, the people, don't want them to do. And I mean, just one example of how effed up these people are. How do you guys like the time change? I know I'm like getting offline, but this is so simple. 80% of Americans don't like the time being changed. And this has been for decades. And they always say, oh yeah, we're going to change it. We're going to do a study and we're going to change it. They never do. Now, Arizona and Hawaii have changed theirs so that they don't, roll back. They stay forward. And most people want it to stay forward, more daylight. So that's just one example of how completely corrupt, inefficient, and absolute morons our Congress and Senate is. Right? Complete bullshit. Got to go away. All right. So complete. How many people in our Senate and Congress have a second passport to Israel? Lots of them. Like, I think it's way over 50%. Right? So that should be illegal. And in fact, I think in every other country it is, but here in America. So again, infiltration by the baddies the Luciferian Satanist, reptoids, right? Coming in and basically, changing the things that should be good for us. So imagine we're not doing the time change. Imagine we don't have any more wars. Imagine what it's going to do for consciousness, because we're not having to fight these morons and assholes for everything. They're constantly pushing on us and stealing and taking and property taxes, which shouldn't be there, and income taxes, which shouldn't be there. All of these things, right? So imagine when that's all gone. It's going to be unbelievable. The consciousness explosion, the revolution in conscious, or the renaissance in consciousness, is going to be exquisite. So why did Cyrus get permission to restore Jerusalem? And basically, you can rebuild the temple, and I will actually give you money to do that. So he funded rebuilding the temple. So 200 years before that, there was a prophet, biblical prophecy from Isaiah 44:28 and 45:1. So he said, who says of Cyrus, he is my shepherd, and he shall perform all my pleasure, saying to Jerusalem, you shall be built, and the temple, your foundation shall be laid. This was like a couple hundred years before Cyrus even showed up. So I want those guys on my side, right? And that's why I believe that Cyrus the Great is like Daniel. You're pretty. I heard what you said about the writing on the wall, and I heard that you guys prophesied I would come 200 years ago. You want to hang out? So I'd be like, yeah, of course. So that's what I believe has happened for thousands of years. All right. So there's been a great relationship between the Persians and the Jews. All right. So let's go into the problems of Islam. And Churchill, of all people, said long ago that there would be a problem with Islam in the future. And he said this in 1899. Wow. So the old boy, I don't know who he's working for, but he seemed to know things. Maybe it was planned and he was part of the plan, whatever. So he goes on, he says, how dreadful are the curses which Mohammedanism lays on its votaries, besides the fanatical frenzy which is as dangerous in a man as hydrophobia in a dog. There is this fearful fatalistic apathy. The effects are apparent in many countries. Improvident habits, slovenly systems of agriculture. I can vouch for that because they can barely feed themselves, which is very tragic because they got great lands. Sluggish methods of commerce and insecurity of property exist wherever the followers of the Prophet rule or live. A degraded sensualism, like I talked about, they suppress the feminine, deprives this life of its grace and refinement, the next of its dignity and sanctity. The fact that in Mohammedan law, every woman must belong to some man. And I cannot believe the liberal white women that are, saying good things about, Islam and how it's all good. They're brainwashed. It's like, ladies, you're going to end up losing everything that you fought for 100 years or more. All right. To some man as his absolute property, do with whatever he wants, either as a child, a little girl, a wife, or a concubine, must delay the final extinction of slavery until the faith of Islam has ceased to be a great power among men. All right, so there you go. Even Churchill knew all the way back, 127 years ago. So very, very prophetic. Good job. All right, so let's go to Rome during the time frame where Jesus was there in Israel. All right, so you guys know that I said the Wailing Wall was part of, I think it was Hadrian's gift to, where does it say that? It was his gift to one of the Roman, I'll get it in a minute, but anyway, the barracks reference Tower of Antonia, which Herod the Great rebuilt from a previous structure and named it after Mark Antony. So Mark Antony, Cleopatra fame, so forth. So the Wailing Wall is part of that, the Tower of Antonia. So that was where the cohort, stayed in were. So Claudius Lysias is a high-ranking military officer in charge during this time frame. Commander of 1,000 men, anywhere from 600 to 1,000 men. Appears to be the case, for it said that his command was over a cohort, the 10th part of a Roman legion. So he was in charge in that time frame. So he saved Paul. And my thoughts are that he tried to save Jesus, but Jesus, he had to go through this crucifixion and then rise from the dead to show everybody that could be done. All right. So it goes on to talk about how Paul and Claudius emerges on the topic of Roman citizenship. So a Roman citizen was subject to Roman law and thus was protected from such things as being beaten, because he was about to beat Paul, because all of the bad Jews within the temple were saying that he was a bad guy because he had this connection with Jesus, and they'd wanted Jesus crucified because he was going against them. He was taking away their money, remember? Going into the temple and overturning the tables, money changers. So only a Roman citizen could legally marry another Roman citizen. Citizens were exempted from certain taxes. Beyond this, there was the considerable factor of honor and difference, such as status afforded. Now, Claudius was named after the Roman Emperor Claudius. And when you took the person's name, first name like that, it was because you were given status. So Claudius Lysias is a Greek name. I believe that Lysias was from Greece, and he was from a wealthy family, and a lot of times you had to buy your status in Rome. So he basically bought his status as a Roman tribute. And it talks about him in the Bible and saving Paul. And he was, I believe, the Roman tribune that was there during the time that Jesus was crucified. All right. So here's a picture of him. I made a picture, but it kind of shows you, the kind of level of aristocracy that the tribune's at. So Paul's nephew speaks to Claudius Lysias in the Tower of Antonia, where the Wailing Wall, the portion of it, is there. So remember, in 66, 33 years later, so Jesus crucified in 33 years later, 66, right? We know that the baddies like that 66 number. And they also like to say 33-degree Mason, right? So the 33, 66. And the Romans came in and basically decimated Jerusalem. And they tore down the temple, but they left the, Tower of Antonia after Marcus Antonio, Mark Antony. And so they went underground. There's stories of them going into the tunnel systems and burned. They set fire because they tried to smoke them out. So they burned, set fires in the underground, chambers and tunnels and so forth that were under the temple, and there was a lot of people died. Right. So these are the zealots. These are the zealots, and of course, probably some good people died too. Right? Very, very. Sorry, but Jesus never Jewish? Are you kidding me? All right, whatever. So he was Christian. He was always Christian. Is that what we're saying? Right. Very interesting. So, Jesus did go to lots of different places. He was a rabbi, and he went to Greece. He went to the British Isles. He went to Egypt. He also went up into, it's all recorded, went up into the Himalayas to study and all these different sects. That's how he was able to become the level of proficiency as a Christed being, walking on water, healing, and all the stuff that he did. So, yes, he was and never crucified. Whatever. Do you believe that, so flaky. So anyway, there's a lot of people out there who have all these different stories, just like, the Abraham Lincoln was sunk and, there's the B-2 bomber was shot down. The people glam onto this stuff and then run with it. So it is what it is. So those of you that get stuck there, Dolores Cannon had this really good analogy. Said that as our consciousness is rising now at a very fast clip here in she even predicted 2026 as being a very monumental year. And she said that imagine two trains that have left the station. One is the ones that full of the consciousness rising beings, and those are the ones. And then there's ones that are people that are not. Right? We know many of them, right? It seems like most of humanity is on that train to nowhere, right? But some people are running alongside that train, trying to get the attention of people on that train to nowhere with non-thinking individuals that come up with, crap that they're thinking. I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to get, swept under the train and get run over. I'm on the train going somewhere, higher consciousness. And we've already tried the best we can to awaken a lot of these people. And, there's many that are, yes, ignorant to the truth. All right. So, and some people that believe that Jesus was there was never a man named Jesus, and he was never a Christian, or he's never a Jew, and he never was crucified. They look at us and, say that you guys are not awake. It's like, okay. Right. So, as history goes on, as history is revealed, more of this stuff comes out. Of course, it's suppressed, and then there's people come in with disinformation. Disinformation is across the spectrum, right? Across the spectrum, in everything. All right. So the Antonia Fortress, like I said, was a citadel built. It's in the eastern end of the second wall of the second temple, and it was there to protect the temple. And now it's called the Wailing Wall. So I just think that's interesting that the baddies basically got the temple torn down because they went against the Romans, and the Romans loved the good Jews, and the bad Jews basically made them come and hammer them, just like Trump right now is hammering Iran, guys. So it's biblical. The thing we're in right now is absolutely biblical. Good against evil. All right, so this leads to Joseph of Arimathea. Joseph of Arimathea took, Jesus had the crown of thorns, and Joseph of Arimathea let Jesus have his crypt. And, of course, Jesus rose from the dead and pushed the boulder aside because he was, unless you don't believe he was crucified, of course. And then he pushed the stone aside with his, because he was above the physical at that point, right? And that's what we're moving into. These things I do, you can do it even greater. moving to the point where we rise our consciousness, rise our dimensional frequencies and so forth to higher levels. Of course, the Luciferians and all of them, they want to stop us because they want to control us and they want everybody to have a good deal, kind of like the Shia. No, you can't have like freedoms and, let your beautiful women run around with, Christian Louboutin. No, we're not going to have that. It's not going to happen. So we're gonna restrict the Strait of Hormuz so that people start to starve all around the world, because they are going to, unless it's open. And gas prices are going to go to the moon, which is very possible. And so they're evil. They're evil as F, right? So Glastonbury. So the crown of thorn tree, which grew in Glastonbury, supposedly, and I believe it is the case, where Joseph Arimathea had to escape. He was the richest man in the world. He had a shipping empire, and he went to the Glastonbury area of Britain, and where the tin mines were, and his ships brought back the tin, which they combined with copper and made bronze, which was what the soldiers wore, and they became Romans, and so he became very wealthy doing that. So the baddies basically came in and, hammered him, threw him in jail, and eventually he got thrown on a ship. And, he and Mary Magdalene, who was pregnant, they were pushed off, and no sails, no food or water, and it rained, so they caught water. And Joseph Arimathea knew that the tides, and the person that pushed him off, I believe, was Claudius Lysias. So he basically, made a big scene, pushed him off, but he knew, because his family was part of shipping as well from Greece, and pushed him off, and they hit a current that basically took him over to France. And to this day, there's a place in France where they celebrate Mary Magdalene and the Black Mary, who was her Egyptian servant, and Joseph Arimathea and all those guys basically came over. And so they still celebrate that every year in France, the landing of that crown. Very interesting, right? So eventually they made their way up and into Glastonbury, and they built the first recognized Christian church. And Joseph Arimathea planted, there's supposed to be the Tor that's there, and there's like a red well that's there, chalice well, where he had the chalice that was at the Last Supper, and he kept it, and some of Jesus' blood dripped into the chalice, and he kept it. And then he put the chalice in the chalice well, and then the chalice well runs red, and not far from there is a white well as well. And it's the Jesus, they call it, everywhere that happens, they call that the Jesus and Mary wells, right? Of course, Mary being the red well, and the Christed well will be the white well. There's one of these red and white wells that's up in Mount Shasta. I've been there. It's a great place. But it's basically where you go and you hot springs type stuff. And then they have like this stream that runs by that has the white white well water, and it's super cold. But I get in the red sauna, red steam sauna, and then I go out and get in the white. So I immerse myself in both those. So those are in very few places around the world. One of those is Glastonbury, and that's where Joseph Arimathea went, and he planted some of the thorn that was on thorn tree that was on Jesus' head. I guess he had a staff, and he placed his staff down, and they had ceremony or whatever. And the next day he had some boy that was in this group go get my staff, and he went up and it was already rooted. And all around Glastonbury, they have this thorn, and it blooms twice a year. The other time, I think it blooms in the summer, spring or summer, and then in the winter, just before Christmas. How about that? And so I talked about this when I had a website long ago, back in 2009, 9-ish or so forth. I talked about this, like I'm talking about it now. And some asshole went and cut down the Glastonbury thorn tree. And I think it's because I talked about it. But all around Glastonbury, people have taken cuttings from that, and there's these Glastonbury thorn trees everywhere. So they can take it down one area, but we keep it going, right, guys? And that's a beautiful thing about Glastonbury. Of course, there's all kinds of legends and myths and that are there. It's fantastic. I've been there. Highly recommend you go there. The energy there is magnificent. So King Arthur and Guinevere supposedly buried there at the first Christian church in Glastonbury Abbey. And of course, King, what was it? Edward, not King Edward, but was it Edward the Eighth? The one that basically, anyway, one of the kings came in there and started the English religion because he couldn't marry. He cut the heads off of all of his wives that he wanted to, and so they basically started their own religion. So like if you're not going to accept me to be able to do whatever I want, I'm going to just basically Henry VIII. So that's right, Henry. So Henry VIII, and he basically was cutting heads off of his wife so he could have another one. Treasonous, cut her head off. He couldn't do it in the church because they wouldn't allow a divorce. And so he's like, oh, she's treasonous, cut her head off, and because he had hots for somebody else. So eventually he made the first Church of England, and he went around and burned not all of them, but most of the Catholic churches at the time. And one of those was Glastonbury Abbey. Very sad, right? So, the baddies, I think Henry VIII was a baddie. The baddies have been around and doing their thing for a long time. Okay. What else do I got? I got so much. I think I went a little too hog wild today. But I want to talk about, we know that the Iranians are trying to shoot missiles into Turkey. And they've tried to shoot 3 that I know of already, and they've been shot down. So what is it about Turkey that the baddies don't like? Obviously, there's something there because they have destroyed Turkey in the past on a massive level. All right, I'm going to show this one area called Cappadocia. I want you to look deeply at what I believe are buildings that have been melted. Right? See how these are doorways, and looks like it was a tower at one time. Has these windows, but all of these I believe are melted. It would be like guy came into New York City, which I think is very evil, right, and melted all the buildings. So that's what we're seeing right there. And this is something. Now in Cappadocia in Turkey, they have these balloon rides. I would love to do that someday. Go back there to Turkey and do the tour. But let's look at this a little bit deeper. I think I have a video of this. Yes, good. And so in this video, this guy goes down a rabbit hole and talks about all around the world. There are places like this where obviously the Draco reptilians came in and weren't getting along with some people, and they melted their cities, just like they did with Maui and LA just recently. So they have some very evil. So let's look at this video. Very insightful. Reason why I show you guys this is because this is still a possibility, right? Still a possibility, and that's one of the things that we need to be looking out for going forward.
Tell your doctor if you have an infection,
I love you too, he knows it.
All right, might have to reload it.
Boots on the.
Yes, to grabbing my party essentials.
All right, reload.
Membership that can pay for itself up to 3 times over. So my membership's free, and I get paid to shop here? Oh, that's not quite. Let's think. Join Sam's Club and
Oh man.
things you want, and to the membership that can pay for itself.
This Friday.
They aren't allowed to kick the kids.
Now it's lost. Crap. Well, let me go back over here. I know my wife shared it with me. Let me go over into her little messages and pull it up. Hopefully it'll work this time.
Just understand this could happen to people in this hotel or in the hotel. In the place. Just happens or something.
Nope. Still going to the old something new. Anyway, there was like this video this guy that basically showed, and I'll pull up at some point, get it back up again. Probably knows that I don't want to do it, that I wanted to do it, and it doesn't want it to be shown. Maybe they even took it down. So this guy comes in and basically discloses, like Cappadocia, and there's all throughout Turkey. There's under like 8 to 18 like levels down. They have like these places where tens of thousands of people could live for like long periods of time, all throughout Turkey, right? So they obviously knew there was a very big earth change event coming, or they knew that they pissed off the reptilians, and so they had to hide out. I don't know. So all around the world, there's like these areas where things seem to have been like subsided. So we have all these places in the United States where we have these underground, Atlanta, underground, you name it, cities all around America. Why do they put cities underground? They weren't putting cities underground. They were basically probably melting them, and they subsided, right? So that's one of the things they did. Bye-bye Marathon. Melchizedek. That's it. Melchizedek was the other one. So gas prices, California gas prices ballooning. President Trump orders coastal oil drilling to resume. Now, if you guys have been following me, you know that I said several days ago that, California's closing down all of its refineries. I think Marathon is one that's kind of pushing back, the last one. I said there's 52 bases, military bases in California. Now that we're duking it out, and possibly duking it out with a lot more, crazies out there, we're going to need that oil. And California's trying to cut it. Yeah. So, again, part of the evil side, pretty much they should just clean the clock on the politicians in California, clean it. Right. So he's basically ordering the resumption of oil drilling, which has been stalled for decades. And so that will, takes time to ramp that up, drill, baby, drill, and then, pump it to surface and pump it to the refinery. So it's going to be a little bit, but it's going to make a difference overall. So if we see gas prices go to, $200, $250 a gallon, a gallon or a barrel, and I think it's a barrel, so not $250 a gallon, although it's going to feel like that. Even in here in Nevada, in Costco, I filled up, and I already had a quarter of a tank in there. So for 3/4 of a tank, it was $77. I was like, we're back to $100 we're $100, fill up. It's been a long time, but it's the price you pay for freedom, right? Freedom from the baddies. All right. So the SAVE Act, guys, if Congress doesn't push the SAVE Act, then President Trump is going to push the executive order to basically do that, to save our election from the baddies, from the Democrat baddies, right? And Iran has all these sea mines. And when I was in SEAL teams, it was my platoon that was the only platoon ever to go out. The explosive ordnance disposal guys were like, it's impossible. We can't send swimmers out to find mines and dispose of them. So my platoon did it. So we and I was the guy that was driving the sonar. So the SDVs, SEAL delivery vehicles, they have sonar. At the time, had sonar on them. And so they took one of those out and they made it handheld. And then we had a GPS system that could give us our GPS coordinates on the water. So I would look for the mine shapes with a sonar, and I could just see them. All right, and you see the fluffy things, and that's like seaweed and or kelp, and the things that are like real solid. That was the mine shape. But I was like one of the only guys in my platoon that could see them. I don't know why. It's like, can you see that? But me and another guy, Mike, I won't say his second name, but Mike and Mike, were out there and for like hours, doing these grid patterns and finding the shapes and marking them. Then we came back and we swam down and we augured in explosives and blew up the whole field. And the OD guys came back and said, yep, you guys had like 95% success rate. And the one that you didn't blow up was because it buried itself in the sand. You couldn't find it because it was buried. I was like, yeah, makes sense. But so in Iran, they can swim out the mines, guys. They don't need a ship to do it. So, of course, we could find the mines. We have side scan sonar and all that kind of stuff. You don't specifically need a mine searching ship, which during the Obama administration or the Biden administration a couple of years ago, there was four of them in that area, in the Gulf area, and Biden had them taken away. So we see this as a long-term process of destroying America. You take Gavin Newsom, basically, doing away with all of the refineries. Now, President Trump has said for the first time in, I think, 30 or 40 years, they're building a new refinery, I think, in Texas. Yay. So maybe he's going to come in and those refineries are shut down. He's going to say, you're starting back up. Bullshit, Newsom, and all you demon rats, right? Trying to destroy America. And then, of course, we're going to have their little, puppets who are the environmentalists are going to cry and scream and yell and, prostrate themselves on the shore, whatever. It's craziness. All right. So China may have breached U.S. voter databases. So this is coming to a head where we're seeing Serbia was involved. Venezuela was involved, China, of course, involved, and probably a couple of other countries were involved in, stealing our election. So as that gets revealed, that gives the impetus for Trump to come in and do the executive order. If we don't have the SAVE Act get passed, I think even with the SAVE Act should come in and do an executive order, right? Get the military in there and make sure that we don't have any, Space Force, I believe very strongly, helped us on the last election from getting that stolen. They didn't make Trump get elected. They made sure he didn't get cheated as much, right? And every place where the Democrats have illegal voting, meaning no voter ID, every one of those states voted for Kamala. All those states, California, of course, being one of them. So we have to stop that. I mean, if we're going to have a real country going forward, we're going to have to stop that, right? And that's what's coming, I believe. So I did get word from someone that President Trump is going through in the military, Pete Hegseth, actually, probably from the direction of Commander-in-Chief, President Trump, is going after the baddie military JAG officers and getting them the hell out, right? And we know why that is so we can go to good JAG officers and judge advocate generals, right? Lawyers, and come after all of the people in the United States that need to go down to Guantanamo and go bye-bye, right? So one of those, I think, is going to be Brennan, former head of the CIA, and Brennan is going to sing like a little bitch, right? And he's going to give up a lot of information. Same thing that's happening right now from Maduro. He's singing lovely songs of, voter fraud and diming people out. So a lot of those people are going to go bye-bye. So we need good people to prosecute them. We can't have these, infiltrators, these baddies come in and cause the problems that they have in the past. So not only is there a problem on a major scale, of course, in the public judiciary, massively compromised, but also within the military as well. So I was told that Hegseth is cleaning up the JAG, and soon we're going to start to see military tribunals. Wow. Coming, guys. Been talking about it for a while. Now, the problems I see right now is a cheating's been going on. We saw massive Democrat headway in New Jersey and also in Virginia. Since Trump has been in office, the Democrats have flipped 28 seats since Trump won. Republicans have not flipped any, none, zero, right? So we can't get this, the SAVE Act or the executive order in there fast enough, guys, because these jackasses are, really having a very negative impact on America and American voting, all right? So once we come in and we reveal that Biden was not elected, right, then everything that Biden did, or the deep state did, gets turned around. Kind of like that nominee for the Supreme Court, Ketanji Brown Jackson, which is like the worst Supreme Court pick ever. I'm like, what the heck? And again, like I tell you guys, they don't pick people of merit because then they won't be able to control them. Because good people are not compromised, and they're uncompromisable for the most part. So they want people that are completely dumbed down, like Ketanji Brown Jackson, right? Complete idiot. So she's manipulable, and she'll do what she's told. So that's why she's in there. And I think that when Trump reveals that election was stolen, then they're going to roll back a lot of that stuff. And who knows how far back they're going to go with this, right? It's going to be very exciting, very interesting. All right, so let me give a last check of what's going on with the markets. Oh wow, the markets are up in futures. So did something happen? So oil fell back. It's back. It fell back $1. So see, you never know. You never know with the stock market, guys. Lots of manipulation going on. Lots of disinformation. Lots of information disinformation and manipulation. Disinformation, manipulation. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Crypto is up nicely. And silver is up 8 cents. Gold is down $30, just above that 5,000 threshold. And silver has maintained the $80 threshold. So we'll see going forward, how this plays out. So there's a lot of technical signals that were triggered. So the stock market should go down, but, like I said, this is a casino stock market. It has no rhyme, reason, or, no intelligence whatsoever. It's pure manipulation. So, there's still a lot of people that are, invested in it, haven't moved over into silver with my guy, right? Dr. Kirk Elliott.
Today's day of prayer. That's what's nice for me.
There will come a time if you don't make the effort to move into silver where you're going to massively regret it, right? All right, guys. Lots of love. Stay in the love vibration, and trust in God, the lion, right? So, in the future, we're going to see this thing turned around, consciousness, moving in the right direction, and it'll be quite amazing. So watch crude oil. Crude oil goes up, stock market's going to go down. Crude oil goes down, stock market goes up, right? And that's the way it's going to be going forward. It'll be that way multiple times during the day. Oil will turn around and start going up. Stock market will start to crash, and then it'll stop, and oil will go back down. And I watched it the last couple of days of trading on Thursday and Friday, and that's exactly what it was doing all day long, back and forth, depending on what oil was doing. All right. So the only way that we're going to see oil turn around is if there's a clear indication that Strait of Hormuz is going to be open. Otherwise, it's going to be devastating. All right. Okay, guys. Stay in love vibration, and I'll see you guys next time.
The last note I ever wrote to Bob, I ended it with,
You're always gonna have it. Your pictures.
and I signed it.
He's got it in his heart too. You gotta get it. What do you like and doing? Oh yeah, we have that thing we need to do. What was it? Put it on the desk and do what? Make it so people can listen to their phones or music on a phone instead. It wasn't clear that. What was it? There was something weirder. Material witnesses and not just in here that you can't remember some Michael. What was it? If not, if you can't, put your phone, stick your phone into it. It was nice to hold phone to memories. I like how you really cute ideas. That's all the money he could put a big price on it. That's what they want for money. And bird stores, I don't love it. She's low energy. She's hosting somebody's laws. Tanya, she got to watch. They got her clothes, they did. What a classy way to do it. They left with the big actor and the biggest actress did her thing. She sang a nice little song. It was very nice. This is a nice little Oscars. Good night.